Good morning. We're going to get into this. And quickly, before we get into it, I want to show you something else. If you go on TranzAct Card website and you go to their press releases, you will see a bunch of different articles. And it always mentions the co-founder, Peter Rancy. But it never mentions Richard Smith. In fact, if you search on the press release page, Rancy comes up at least 6 times. Smith comes up 0 times. Maybe it's a coincidence, but we're going to go on a little adventure, and then at the end, you can tell me whether or not you think it's a coincidence too. I have to give it up to Oz from Behind MLM. I'm going to go down this entire article. It is beautiful and succinct, and hands down to you for gathering all of this information. TranzAct Card review. Richard Smith returns with a new card op. On their website, TranzAct Card identifies this guy, Richard Smith, as their founder and chairman. So let's go back in time to 2016 when Richard Smith was working on a new MLM called Divvy. The original concept for Divvy flopped, and it was rebooted as Divvy Rank and Share in November of 2016. But by July of 2017, Divvy Rank and Share had also flopped, and this prompted them to pivot into Forex trading securities and commodities fraud. And it's also important to point out that back in 2010, Richard Smith was criminally charged with securities fraud. So what's securities fraud? Well, I'm so glad you asked. Securities fraud is an illegal or unethical activity carried out involving securities or asset markets in order to profit at the expense of others. And some examples of securities fraud? Well, would you look at that? Ponzi schemes and pyramid schemes. And here, as you can see, is the affidavit for the case. So let's talk about that for a second. The charges pertain to Ascendus and FFCF, double stupid name check, 2 Ponzi schemes that defrauded customers out of nearly $11 million. In November of 2012, there was a $3.2 million default judgment against Richard Smith. And in January of 2017, Richard Smith pled guilty to 1 count of pattern of unlawful conduct. Richard Smith was sentenced to pay $200,000 in restitution, 5 years probation, and 250 hours of community service. Real stand-up guy. After Divvy flopped, we had Nui, again, stupid name check, and that was just a continuation of the aforementioned securities and commodities fraud. Nui developed into a bunch of crypto schemes, which led to a securities fraud cease and desist in July of 2018. At some point, Richard Smith left Nui, and then in March 2019 resurfaced with the Digital Vault and Rev Card, which were supposed to be banking services for the crypto fraud. In April 2019, the Digital Vault relaunched, surprise, surprise, as our network. The Rev Card still had not been launched, and by mid-2020, the original concept for it had been scrapped. And even though Richard and our network were not registered with the SEC, he still began offering stock ownership. Whatever momentum that our network had quietly died after all of that, and in March 2021, it was sold off to IX Global. And the next time we see Richard Smith pop up, April 2023, talking about TranzAct Card. And around here, we like to head to the comments to get more information, so that's exactly where I went. I loved this comment. $150 a month to use a catalog card and shop in an Amway shopping center? Pathetic. These leaders that are promoting this program, no one should ever join them again in anything. They will do anything to their teams. Okay, so this comment is very educational. We're going to go through it. Also, this comment is from June, so some of these numbers have changed, but the math doesn't really change, and how pyramid schemes work doesn't change either. So just follow me the best you can, okay? To be a digital branch office, you pay $495 one time and $150 a month. Once you recruit 3 more DBOs, you become a digital branch manager. You will receive $500, and instead of paying $150 a month, you will only pay 1% of your monthly commissions. This means instead of losing almost $150 a month, as near all DBOs will be, DBMs will be making slightly better than nothing, plus Z-Bucks. Look at the last graphic in Oz's article. This is the graphic, and we will get into it in just a second. The 3 TranzAct card holders and Erica's downline spent $12,000 on their card last month, and Erica earned a grand total of $12 off of it. If Erica is a DBO, she did in fact lose $138 last month, but If she were a DBM, she would have made a grand total of $11.88. So here we have that graphic again. I want you guys to look at it with your own eyes. I will say that the TranzAct Card number now is not $150 a month. I believe it's only $50. So she's only losing $38 a month and not $138 a month. And here we have it on BehindMLM.com. As above, in TranzAct Card's own income examples, affiliates are losing money. The above example provides a $12,000 spend coming in to $12 a month in commissions. This same affiliate would need to generate $150,000 a month in spend just to break even. And again, with the new numbers, it would only be $50,000 a month in spend. I'm not saying it's impossible, but is it realistic? Even Oz is saying to approach with caution. And all of that to say, to circle back to this original point, that you would need to sponsor hundreds, if not more, TranzAct Card holders to make any appreciable money in this deal. This guy is a known grifter with a very long track record of getting in trouble for pyramid and Ponzi schemes, specifically in the banking and financial realms. It's like really giving Firefest 2. It's like really giving Billy McFarland, let's give it one more shot. Let's try this one more time. Let's really knock their socks off this time. It's not going to happen. Stop trying to make fetch happen. I mean, even the not so anti-MLM guy is telling you to proceed with caution when signing up for this. And I am still waiting to see what is actually in that Z-Buck store that makes all of this rigmarole even worth it in the first place. I say this a lot, and it's really just sort of basic MLM math. If you are buying something that you don't need at a discount, you're not saving money. If you don't need it and you're spending money on it, you're losing money. I would love screenshots of that Z store. I want to know what's in there. I want to know what's actually being sold. I want to know what people are actually signing up to get discounts on. Look, I would hate to be wrong. I'm not usually wrong about these kind of things. I mean, I do know a little bit about pyramid schemes. You know, I mean, just a little bit. And I do want people to be successful, but I also want you to understand that, like, linking your financial bank accounts to an MLM and funneling all your money into this get-rich-quick scheme is, like, not the way to be successful. MLMs, like the ones I cover all the time, have a 99.7% loss rate. Gambling has a 95% loss rate. Illegal pyramid schemes, the one that the government actually shuts down, those have a 90.7% loss rate. So just be careful, because I know my shit is going to age well. Can you say the same?